Hello everyone, I am Ethan Dajo, and I would like to present my case study for DTB205 Design Psychology. The setting I've chosen is QUT Shutter Bus Stop, which is near QUT Cabin Grove campus. As you can see from the floor plan, the stop has two shutters which I named Bench 1 and Bench 2. The following circles are the barriers, and the square shape here is the bus route information. The two square shapes on the left of Bench 2 are the trash bins. As you can see from the floor plan, the bus stop area is marked from the route information pole to the trash bin. These are my observation times with three different zones: morning, afternoon, and evening. Let's look at the site appraisal. First, through the ZZ framework, you can see that there are signs of wear and leftovers here and there, which indicates that the shutter has been used for long periods. Scattered leaves indicate the low maintenance of the setting. The backdrops say there are bus living nearby, and also there are public messages in the setting with both official and unofficial signs. This is the pet model that I used. You can see that there are a lot of emotions. Let's start by counterclockwise direction. I felt alarmed because of the sudden noise from the trucks while the setting was quiet, and I felt afraid, which is more like frightened. When I was waiting in line for people getting off the bus, they went both directions of my size. The rushing and closeness of people invaded my personal space, and the rushing on both sides made me frightened whether they might bump into me in that moment. When I went into the setting in the afternoon, I felt really annoyed by the intense sun glare and feel bored as there is no vibrant activity to see around the setting, just only the quietness, which on the other hand makes me feel pleased and relaxed on the hot days because of the cool winds and the sound of chirping birds. You can see it is this part which I talked about earlier. It became the shortcut part between the shutter and the bushes, and it is observed that they usually use this when they are in a hurry. There are also vertical elements such as nodes and poles. LEDs serve as signs, and the position of the stop provides clear visibility to the paths and surroundings. The site also has an adequate affordance of its function. Firstly, the horizontal overhead plane marks the shutter space, and the flat surface of the bench influences sitting and standing under that space. The vertical elements, such as a bus route information board, mark the space between public messages and shutter, and planes under the shutter and trash bin create the bus stop territory, and people comfortably wait for the bus in those spaces. The shutter and boundaries make people safer than the other open public spaces because of its semi-public nature of space, with the use of glass as a boundary plane on one side of each other. When looking at the physiological point of view, the following needs are achieved. There is a wheelchair ramp and tactile paving for blinds for accessibility. The platform is also textured to prevent slippery, and when it comes to the ventilation and air quality, it is also good, except the thermal comfort in the afternoon because of the glare. The acoustic quality is also good because of its quiet surroundings. When it comes to lighting, Bench 2 needs more lighting at night to provide safety. Regarding biophilic design checklist, the setting is close to environmental features and has an open view to trees and surroundings. The natural shape is formed in the carved shelter roof design, which complements the surrounding trees. For patterns and processes, the contrast in colors emphasizes the areas, such as the bench, which has contrast light color compared to the dark green color of the shelter structure. The bus roof boast blue color stands out in its greenery surroundings. There are also bound spaces sufficient for its functionality. The pattern barrier from the back in the shelter allows for ventilation, which also provides enclosure. The integration of horizontal and vertical elements creates the whole bus stop territory. The two shutters link to each other with their symmetrical form of structure. There are also both filtered and unfiltered natural light in the space, with the unfiltered intense light needs to be treated. For human-nature relationship, there is a balanced prospect refuge, and the nature of setting enhance attachment rather than attraction. This is because the setting is mostly used by QUT students, so it has been a third place for students. This stop is one of the only two stops that the shuttle bus runs, thus encourages attachment based on their activities. The affordance of the setting triggers the following behaviors. The first one is when people try to get on the bus, they naturally line up and waited for the others on the bus to get off. The second one is the area made for buses to stop was perceived for parents' cars to stop temporarily and drop off their children. There are also behaviors discovered from the psychosocial aspects with different influences. The first one is people standing with a certain interval of space between one another while waiting for the bus. This behavior seems to be influenced by their social and environmental aspects. There are also behaviors influenced by personal space and territoriality, which includes the choice of space for sitting and markings of territory with their belongings and different sitting positions. Strangers give personal space to each other, while friends allow for intimate space between them. According to prospect theory, people waiting for the bus usually check the direction from which the bus comes. These are again behaviors related to psychosocial aspects. A girl talking on phone near the bus stop crossed the road and talked on the other side of the road when she saw another person sitting there. She felt her privacy being invaded and she decided to leave as a preventative reaction. That is, she distances that person from her social space to public space. Another behavior is a student being dropped off by parents' cars at the bus stop decided to cross the road as soon as he sees the other person sitting under the shutter. That is, he avoided walking past the bus shutter. Thus, his personal, social, and environmental, which is COVID-19 maybe, appear to have influence on his personal space. According to solutogenic theory, the setting allows for adequate manageability. For example, people use the small path between the shelter and the bushes when they are in rush or as a place to wait for bus in the afternoon, which is the only area in shade. When it comes to the activities of people, most of them use phones, which is harmful to our physiological aspects in the long term, with daily exposure to low-frequency electromagnetic fields. And lastly, these are some recommendations based on my findings. In order to provide some comfortability in the setting, the shutter design should be changed to prevent sun glare in the afternoon. Another thing is the shutter should be moved to the back so that people getting off the bus will only have one clear path to go, which make it easier. To reduce the use of phones as much as possible, high arousal objects are needed for attention, which is also enjoyable visually or audibly. Here I recommended some greenery space with fragrant flowers or a small water fountain. So according to collective properties, it focuses on novelty and incongruity. These are the reference lists that I used for the case study. Thank you for listening.